Tonight on First Alert Weather Extra, we're bringing you the first alert for cooler temperatures to start off next week. We're on your side with how long those cool fall-like temps will stick around.
Hey, we'll take it, and we're talking with an expert on how flooding can impact public health, not only in the wake of Helene, but other storm systems.
Plus, we're headed back to the cosmos beyond the atmosphere as parts of the country could experience the northern lights again this weekend.
Live on your side, First Alert Weather Extra starts right now.
Cole Wilson, I'm the quarterback of the Piedmont Bulldogs.
And here's your weather forecast for the Field of Champions on Friday.
At 7 p.m. it'll be 74 degrees, and at 8 p.m. it'll be 73.
At 9 p.m. it'll be 71 degrees, and at 10 p.m. it'll be 70 degrees.
All right, a sideline forecast.
We love that.
Yeah, we love that. Great to have meteorologists Tania Michelle and Lauren Linehan back here with us for Weather Extra. And we've been talking a lot about the Northern Lights, and we're gonna explore that. There was another solar storm this week, and I've just been getting the question all week, so I know you guys have been digging into it today, so we're going to try to answer where those could be seen
and
tonight.
Hopefully we can see it.
Hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully. It's always a sudden thing too with respect to that.
You got to be
forecast.
ready.
Yeah, and we got lucky that one time. Need to remind you, normally we don't get so lucky with this. So don't get too excited, but we'll see.
We'll see. We'll see. So mowed the lawn today. Hopefully this is my last time. I don't think it will be, but I dodged the raindrops. There was a little bit of wet weather out there. It was actually a thunderstorm, and I know you guys were sending out some alerts about that over Tuscaloosa earlier, but the next big thing that we're going to be talking about is some clearing for tonight. But we have, this looks like one of our weather photos from the weather app. That is a live view from Avadian Credit Union at Vernon, one of our Sky Vision cameras, and it just looks incredible with those clouds out there. We had a nice view. That's the tower camera from Birmingham, but that's what it looks like out the door right now. But we just got an update to the tropical outlook. We're going to have to update that percentage, but now it looks like a high chance for tropical development over the next several days. Things are sort of evolving now. It looks like we're going to see some development out of this. I know it's been a slow go as we talked about throughout the week, but we're watching the Gulf of Mexico. Tropical development possible within the next 5 days. We could end up with Tropical Storm Milton, and you know, this could go as strong as a hurricane, so we need to watch it. Where's it going? Right now, though, even though we will be tracking, keeping an eye on it, if you have a trip planned, I think this is going to be more of a threat along the Florida Peninsula, Central Florida, and areas to the south by next Wednesday and Thursday. But you got the first alert right here on what we're tracking there. So if you have a trip planned to the Alabama Gulf Coast, this should stay to the south. We've got a cold front on the way next week, as we talked about, and that's going to keep that system mainly south of our area. We'll be watching it, though, throughout the weekend with Matt and Lauren. AccuTrack right now, all dry, temperatures in the 70s. And as we look at this weather headlines, of course, we're watching the Gulf of Mexico. Cold front next week is going to bring the fall feel. Now, we're not talking frost or that kind of cold just yet, but dry weather and hot afternoons this weekend, and then the fall in temperatures for next week. A lot going on this weekend. And hey, how about the Alabama Butterbean Festival? That's happening in Pinson this evening, but all the events going on tonight and tomorrow. Again, the rain chance is coming to an end, but we'll talk more about the 10-day forecast. Now, let's go back to Lauren.
And yeah, we are looking forward to the Talladega race weekend. You know, we always have college football this time of the year, but the big race is happening in Talladega for the Yellowwood 500. So if you're going to be going over to Talladega County Saturday and Sunday, honestly, temperatures still look like they're going to be running a little bit above average in the mid 80s. But hey, we keep talking about our next big thing being that fall cold front on the way, and at least you won't have any rain. So it's not like it's going to be a messy weather weekend in Talladega. Now, we've also got Oktoberfest going on in Coleman. So if you want to get you some bratwurst, have a nice little drink, the temperatures tomorrow are still going to be running above average, even up in Coleman County, but plenty of sunshine. Even though we've had some clouds around today, I think for Saturday and Sunday, we've got a lot of sunshine, and maybe you're one of the true football fans if you like watching football across the pond. The Birmingham Legion will be having their kickoff around 5 p.m. on Sunday at Legion Field, and or at Protective Stadium, and it does look like temperatures are still going to be running warm in the 80s. So So really nice weather this weekend, but of course we're all looking forward to that cold front next weekend, Tania.
Oh yeah, Lauren, you know that's right. People are done, and I'm sure many people are like Wes, want to be done mowing those lawns and having to cut their grass, right? So when's this grass going to stop growing? Hopefully very soon. But for the next several days, we still have some pretty warm afternoons. And if you're looking for some time to get that grass cut, giving you the green light for your weekend and really the start of next week. So although Tuesday morning we'll see temperatures starting off likely down into the 50s, but that afternoon we'll still see those highs in the upper 70s and maybe even a few low 80s. But as far as rain chances, not going to be present. So staying dry. It might be a little crispy out there as you're cutting that grass because we haven't seen a whole lot of wet weather. But the good thing is you won't get rained on if you're tending to your gardens or trying to get your yard work done. Lauren?
Yeah, Tania, well, it's actually been a week since Hurricane Helene made landfall, and as recovery efforts continue to ramp up, there's still plenty of work to be done. First responders continuing to reach those hard-hit rural areas and navigating roads made nearly impassable due to mudslides and debris. Another major concern, widespread power outages that are now reaching into their 8th day in some areas. Officials say crews are working as fast as they can, but they're overwhelmed by the magnitude of the destruction.
This is unprecedented that we're dealing with. Previously, the worst storm Georgia Power had ever dealt with, they had 1,700 poles that needed to be replaced. Currently, there are over 8,000 that have to be replaced.
And President Biden is promising the federal government will give the states every resource they need. But if you yourself would like to donate financially to help storm victims, this is a quick and secure way. Get your phone out and scan this QR code that you see on our screen. WBRC's parent company, Gray Media, has partnered with the Salvation Army for this effort. You can also go to HeleneHelp.org to find out more.
And check this out. A doctor in St. Petersburg, Florida, isn't just a medical expert. She's become an expert on home renovations. Her house is flooded multiple times from hurricanes, and now she's sharing those tips online. Chad Mills has the story.
All right, flood friends, let's talk about your wet drywall.
From medical doctor to house doctor?
You are going to want to cut it out, and you want to cut at least up 18 inches above your flood line.
Meet Megan Martin, a local doctor yet again going viral on TikTok.
I guarantee you your kids will get sick at the least convenient times.
Her health tips have gone viral in the past, and so did her quintessentially Florida commute to work after Debbie. But this time,
Your house just flooded, mine too. You're feeling overwhelmed and you don't know where to start or what to do.
she's going viral for sharing tips on a topic she's unfortunately familiar with: what to do after your home floods.
Before you touch or move anything in the house, take pictures and videos, lots of them.
Her Shore Acres home in St. Pete flooded after Ada, Idalia, and now Helene.
We got around 4 feet. This was by far the worst. We haven't seen anything like this in the past.
Her recent TikToks explore topics like drywall removal, mold prevention, how to document your damage, and protect yourself and others.
You can protect unsuspecting Facebook Marketplace buyers by destroying your stuff because the pickers are going to take it and put it online to sell to other people.
No-brainers to some, but not all, after Helene flooded homes that have never flooded before.
The videos are getting lots of views. The comments are very positive and helpful, and it looks like a lot of people are sending it off to other people that have experienced the flooding.
Whether in the ER or on TikTok, Dr. Martin just wants to help.
That is such an awesome story. Later in Weather Extra, we'll also be talking about how flooding can not only impact your home, but impact your public health. Stay tuned for that one. Well, taking you around the world now to Bosnia, where a severe storm brought flooding and landslides to several villages early this morning. It's being called one of the worst floods since 2014. Some towns were completely submerged underwater, with one busy road swept into the river. Heavy rain and strong winds were also reported across Croatia.
We take a quick check on that weekend forecast and speak with an expert on the impacts flooding can have on public health. We'll be right back.
All right, our forecast for tonight, this evening, the rain chance is coming to an end. It looks like just some clouds around mixing in. Those will clear out later on tonight. Lows in the 60s, a nice start tomorrow morning, but afternoon highs for our weekend back into the 80s later in the day. I want to check out, we've got some other forecasts, a lot of events that are going on in the area. I was noticing in Coleman, we actually have the fair that's happening. It looks like that forecast also calling for afternoon highs in the mid 80s for tomorrow afternoon. It's Talladega weekend, and this weekend afternoon showing 86 for Saturday, Sunday 87 with an east wind at 4 to 8 miles per hour. But we'll talk about the 10-day forecast coming up and some cooler weather in the next week. We'll see you back here in a few moments.
Hey Wes, well, one of our favorite parts of fall is the changing colors on the trees. Of course, they haven't really done much yet, but it's Alabama. We gotta wait a little bit longer. But what can affect the leaf color and what can affect when the leaves actually fall? Well, it all goes back to weather and climate. Now, weather, we always say, that's like your mood. Climate is your personality. You have to look at trends over decades, centuries, millennia. So what have we been seeing as a trend over the past 50 years here in the Birmingham area? Well, we actually have been seeing fall nights warming. On average, we've seen nights warm in the Birmingham area since 1970 by about 3.5 degrees. Like, okay, so it's just a little bit warmer at night on average. But how does that affect leaf color? Well, when you have warmer nights on average, if you have, let's say, a fall season where generally, let's say from September, October to November, you had warmer nights than not, then that could actually dull the color of the leaves. But if you have an unseasonably cool fall, that can actually enhance the colors. So my fingers are crossed that next week when that cold front comes through, may help us see some more vibrant colors as we go into late October and early November. But what are the factors that can affect the leaves actually falling? And it's going to be influenced once again by weather and climate. So leaves can fall earlier in the season when you have something like drought and heat stress. You're just not able to get those more vibrant colors, so the leaves can fall. This happens a lot when you see warmer temperatures earlier in the summer, and if you have severe storm systems or systems like Helene coming through, that can cause storm damage. And then if you have a situation where leaves are falling later in the season, that can be due to warmer fall nights or warmer Octobers, which we're hoping for that little cool stretch, but also lower wind speed. So always interesting to see those impacts. But speaking of Helene, one of the most catastrophic and deadliest impacts from the storm was the inland flooding across western North Carolina. But the power of water alone can cause more than just destruction. I spoke with Dr. Moiz Usmani, a professor with UAB's Department of Civil Construction and Environmental Engineering, to talk more about how flooding can also impact public health. Although obviously the immediate concern with flooding is the loss of life or property, what other impacts can flood risk have on human health?
So, of course, I'm not going to say that we don't have any loss in lives and properties, but after hurricane, the biggest concern is in terms of public health is pathogens. We have various pathogens. There was a Hurricane Ian in 2022, and after that, there's a specific county in Florida which experiences 38 infection cases of Vibrio vulnificus. In common terms, we call it mass-eating bacteria. And out of those 38 infected people, 11 died. So that's a huge concern. And after Hurricane Florence and Michael in 2018, that has impacted North Carolina. And we saw an increase in Salmonella typhimurium in the waters close to those swine farms and different types of poultry farms. And that basically leads to a different type of infection that is called gastroenteritis, that basically leads to diarrhea and vomiting. And these are huge concerns. And I think that is something that for the preparedness of hurricanes, that should be considered, and we should have a comprehensive assessment of pathogens and should involve those pathogen assessments in the decision making.
So I know this is still early in the game, but do you think there's a possibility as we go forward in time and looking at a longer time period that these are the type of things we could see popping up in terms of public health?
Yes, I think we might see an increase in cases of Salmonella related infections in North Carolina, and we might see other like mass-eating bacteria infections in the coastal regions. There is a chance for that, yes.
So if we do have the potential in the future for more extreme flooding, what can we do to mitigate future impacts in terms of public health?
So we need to have like more education systems where we educate the people who are living in that affected areas or the people who will be affected, so they know like how to basically safeguard themselves with the interaction. Because sometimes, like if we talk about mass-eating bacteria, the way to interact with that bacteria, there are like only two ways. One is like if you eat uncooked shellfish, and the other is like if that water comes in directly contact with you and you have open wounds. So most of the cases that happened in the Lee County in Florida after Hurricane Ian, it was because people have open wounds because of hurricane. They got some wounds, and now the area got flooded. That water has those pathogens, and then pathogens through those wounds inserted the body, get into the body. So that is something the government or the policymakers should look into it. And apart from all the damages that hurricane causes and flood causes, even they should consider these pathogens into their preparedness program.
Well, let's go beyond the atmosphere, where some portions of the U.S. could see the northern lights over the weekend after another strong solar flare Thursday. This comes as scientists with the Space Weather Prediction Center predicting favorable geomagnetic storm conditions over the next few nights. They're saying that a G3 storm could be possible, meaning that the northern lights could be seen as far as Oregon. I haven't heard Birmingham yet. But if conditions are favorable, listen to this, a G4 or G5 storm could be possible, meaning the northern lights can stretch as far as south. Can stretch as far south as right here in Alabama. That's the news we want to hear. Very cool. So keep your eyes out for that.
Still ahead, we continue to talk about the cool down to start off your week, as well as share some of your weather photos. We'll be right back with more First Alert Weather Extra. And welcome back to First Alert Weather Extra. This is the view this evening, just in from Ryan Carty in Birmingham. Lovely. It's got that October glow, right? Just a beautiful sky out there this evening. How about this from Gadsden? Wesley Lovelace, what a beautiful photo here on a Friday evening with those clouds out there just really setting off those colors, scattering the light. That's what causes those colors to really become quite vibrant in the evening sky. Their next 24 hours, though, dry for us. We had some scattered showers today. We did have a little rain out there. I know we talked about that. Places like Tuscaloosa actually had a thunderstorm today. But right now and through the remainder of this evening, it's going to be quiet out there. Nice Friday night, and tomorrow morning, 6 a.m., nice 60s out there to start the day. Not bad a weekend. We've got dry weather tomorrow. Afternoon highs will reach into the upper 80s in some spots, so it will be hot. So plan for that tomorrow. If you're going to be outside for a long period of time, certainly grab a few extra bottles of water. Stay hydrated out there. We'll see some upper 80s around places like Tuscaloosa and especially in the West Alabama. We now have a 70% chance, a high chance for tropical development. A lot of the model runs coming in. I was just going through looking at some of the data, and a lot of models agree that this disturbance over the Gulf could finally start to develop into a tropical depression or tropical storm. Could reach hurricane strength, but it's going to be tracking in this direction because we will have a front moving in early next week. That's going to keep this on a track more towards the east-northeast. That's going to put places like Tampa down towards Miami and the Naples area. All that region will need to be weather alert across central and south Florida for possible impacts. Looks like by Wednesday or Thursday of next week. Again, that stays south of us. We have this front that moves in, and it brings a drop in temperatures. We'll really feel it out there. Looks like by early Tuesday morning, early Wednesday morning, some low 50s and upper 40s possible across parts of the area. So that's what's next for us. The other systems, Kirk and Leslie out in the Atlantic, both expected to be hurricanes, but Kirk is already a hurricane, but that's going to not be a factor for us. You can track those, though, along with us on the First Alert Weather app. They'll move to the north over the Atlantic. But the 10-day forecast, we stay dry. We've got highs in the 70s next week, that cool down coming. And it actually looks like as we go beyond the 10-day forecast, we might see another front that we'll be talking about. Want to check out this picture that was submitted by Will H. Okay, I was trying to look there. Will H. Thank you for sharing this. And it's a spring photo, but nice color, the weather photo there. We certainly love the spring colors as well. We have all kinds of seasonal templates that you can find on our Color the Weather page. If you go to Weather in the Classroom, you can visit WBRC.com. Color the Weather, different templates for the season. Submit for a chance to be featured right here on First Alert Weather Extra. And great job there, Tania. You know, always difficult. You got to stay in the lines, right? Stay in the margins.
Yeah, Will did good. We're not going to talk about the last photo. All right, here we go. Looking beyond the 7-day. Looking good here as we look next week. We've got afternoon highs in the 70s. Feeling a lot better, at least to me. Maybe not all of us, but if you enjoy temperatures in the 70s, then you'll really like next week and really beyond next week as we look closer to 14 days out. It looks like we'll still see highs trickling in the mid to upper 70s, maybe a few low 80s. I'm not seeing any rain as we look far beyond the 7-day forecast. Looks like lots of sunshine and partly cloudy skies, and if things change, we'll be the first to let you know. Well, of course, stay right here with us. We'll have a look at some of your viewer photos when we come right back after the break.
And here we go with those beautiful sunset and sunrise photos we've been seeing recently. This one from Sandra Martin. What a cozy view there.
And this one from Judy Sharp, sunset at the Greek
Ooh,
Festival. That's where I want to be.
Me too.
Janet and Pelham sharing a lovely sunset photo.
Oh, that is pretty. I like how the trees look like a shadow.
Just enough clouds where you really have those colors.
Yes, I agree.
Right. You got to have a few clouds in there. And then this one from Jason, a beautiful sunset in Homewood. Dang, Homewood, y'all showing out.
It's showing out.
Something about October. Well, hey, don't forget we're streaming on YouTube tonight. We have college football kicking off later this evening right here. Have a great weekend.